Let's talk about things that managers can do to help themselves and employees with burnout.
I would say the biggest one is to keep an eye on people's use of time off. And I think the two biggest things managers can do is, number one, never let people sell their time back. Make them take it, and keep an eye on, is your balance building up? People don't take this seriously.
Right.
People in organizations, the leaders don't, vacation is treated like, well, it's your benefits. Okay, we know that this is important, but
Well, I think it's actually in some places, and I think we have to call this out, because if you are trying to be a good manager, you need to keep this in your head. There are some managers who actually really get upset when you take your time off.
Yeah.
And that is screwed up.
Sure.
Because you are sending the signal that somebody can't take their breaks. But that was the deal. You made a deal with them. They get their time off.
Yeah. As it relates to burnout, you're exactly right. I mean, in general, organizations don't treat people taking vacation like it's as important as the profit and loss, as it's important as the operations. And if you're not careful, it's going to set you up for all kinds of potential distortions. Everybody wanted to take the time off at the same time. That's one. A certain number of people hoarding their vacation for money. If you let them pay it out, that's another. And then cases of where groups of people believe that the work that they're doing is so important that they're restricting the use of that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you can't easily take, I need to take actually 10 days. Well, you can't. We're only taking 5 days. Well, why? Why is something so important that this person can't take 10 days off?
Right, because I just want to emphasize this. Organizations are supposed to be built. We should care about our people for sure.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to be built to last beyond us, which means nobody should be so important that they can't take 10 days off.
Right. I mean, there's a certain degree of organizations lean themselves out a little bit too much, and that's probably true. But the bigger point is that we think we're far more important than we are. And if you're a manager, that a particular person is far more important than they are. They need the breaks sometimes to be a little bit longer of duration, depending on what they need to do. A lot of places we work have employees whose family is, a world away.
Mm-hmm. And it's very expensive to get to them. And so when they go,
right,
they go for like a month.
Yep. And guess what? The place still works. Yeah. And so treating your PTO system like it's actually a vital part of your operations would be a big help, to take it more seriously. That would be the first thing. And the second thing is, in our experience, being on call is the Antichrist. Mm-hmm. I've never been in any organization where their on-call policy wasn't a productivity killer.
I think that what people don't realize with call and why it's tossed around so easily is you don't actually get proper sleep, because you're on,
right.
Like a long time ago, I heard this story about ducks. I don't know if it's true or not, but ducks swim in a circle, and the outer, and when they go to sleep, they swim in a circle, and the inside ducks, their brain is different than the outside ducks. So the inside ducks, the brain actually shuts off and gets into full sleep. The outside ducks, they're actually only partially asleep. They're paying attention to any sound that might be coming that would threaten the whole group.
Yeah.
And I think, although I've never seen a study on this on humans, I think humans do the same thing. And I say this because of just, my own experience. When I'm going to sleep and I'm listening for somebody, I'm waiting maybe for you to come home, or
sure,
like I'm by myself and so I'm on a higher alert, or I'm in a hotel room, and there are studies on hotel rooms that people do not get good sleep. And I think this is the reason, because there are all sorts of sounds that basically trigger you. You're in a new place. And so your brain doesn't actually shut off all the way.
Sure.
And so these people on call, yeah, they in theory might not actually get a phone call very frequently, but they're going to bed with the intent and the fear that they won't hear their phone ring.
Yeah.
And so they're not
Right.
getting all the way to sleep. You cannot convince me. I know we could actually do this empirically and do a study on it, but like I know enough from being a human being that there's no way that these people are actually getting enough sleep. And so you've got that going on the call, but then you also have just that increased, like more of your control is actually stripped away.
Yeah.
Because even when you're on break, you can't leave.
Right.
You got to be within like 15 minutes of the place. And even if you didn't want to go anywhere,
Yeah.
that's increasing your sense that you have no control, which is exactly what contributes to burnout.
Yeah. I mean, I would say if you'll permit me to exaggerate to make a point, we confidentially talk to employees all day long. I'm willing to say call is destroying your people. And if any of your people are on call and the phone actually rings off hours, that is corrosive to those people's quality of life, their productivity, and it absolutely ricochets into their frustration. And if goes on long enough, their hatred, if you'll let me use the word, of the company.
So here's a story for you. So when I was growing up, my parents were running multiple businesses out of their house on one single phone line. And this is the era of landlines where like there's one phone in the house, one line.
That's good for me to have all them boys calling.
Yeah, they couldn't get through.
Couldn't get through.
And our phone rang
I bet.
all the time. And my mom would be so sick of answering the phone that even though like 95% of the time
money
it's going to
coming
be
in
for her,
right,
she would make me stop doing my homework and get up and answer the phone to just have to call her to it.
Yep.
And I hated the phone.
Yep.
Like for years, anytime the phone would ring, just rage would pull up on me because what is that? You have no control. It's somebody reaching in and they're deciding that your life has to stop because they decided to call you.
Yep.
And so, again, the call is totally hitting on somebody's personal sense of control.
Yep. Yeah. It's like our friend Sparky is a property manager. And every so often he has to be the property manager on call. And he will take the property manager phone surfing. Yeah, he actually dropped it in the Pacific
That didn't work out
Ocean.
so well. Yeah, he did.
But it will ring and he'll say, "What is your emergency?"
Yeah, he'll be mad.
He's mad. And this is
not high customer service.
No,
work.
but it's normal behavior. Yeah, I mean, look, I know it's an exaggeration, but if you're listening to this podcast and your company has a call policy, it is destroying your people. And we are hearing it. Some of our trips are funded by your call policy because your employees hate it, and that's what they're burning up our ears talking about. And so look very carefully at, do you actually need call, or could you hire out somebody else to answer those phones?
Or can you just spread it out so much where it's having a very limited.
Much. Like, here, I'll give you an example. How limited should your call be? Maybe 2 days a month. But we work in places where the employees are on call a week at a time, every month. And it's, or worse, but basically. I mean,
and then they just dread that week.
Yeah. I think you could tolerate about 2 days out of 30 on call. And because these phones ring at 2 or 3 in the morning, they're not getting the good sleep. They're still working the next day, and so on and so forth. It's the Antichrist. I mean, I could devote not only an entire podcast episode to the destructive nature of being on call and what it does to people and companies, but I could do a whole podcast. Like, that could be the whole podcast.
Well, and I got to think you're not even getting like very good responses because like you're not getting the full human being.
Right. Everything is
showing
backwards.
Up.
Everything is backwards about this. when you're calling people in at 2 a.m. or asking them to troubleshoot, you know.
Right. And then the poor little nurse who knows that she needs to call. Like
right.
they do everything to not call.
Not call.
And
right. The patient
sometimes
is
that decision
hemorrhaging.
is terrible.
Right. I don't want to wake the doctor up.
Right.
I'm trying to, you know, again, I literally could go forever, but I'm ready to kind of wrap this thing up. But it's the whole absurdity of this on-call policy is that once you put humans into it, they're going to try to make this thing humane.
And they also don't want to be seen as not being able to handle things.
Right. So you're the leader of a hospital. You put an on-call policy where there's always a physician on call. And then the nurses at 2 a.m. don't want to call because they know that the physician is sleeping and they know that the physician stayed late. So you, the leader, are sleeping great at night because you have an on-call policy. But it's so painful and everybody else knows it that they're not actually using it when they need to. And so I got to stop talking or I will go forever. But it's back to this. I'll bet you if you show me somebody burn out, to your point, it's always going to be somebody who deeply cares about the organization because people who do not allow themselves to get burnt out. And I'll bet you $100 that in 50% of the cases, there's some kind of on-call policy behind this or a screwed up time off policy.